By the end of this video, you will know what KPIs are and how they dictate the growth of your Met spa. And by the end of the video, you'll be able to identify which KPIs are stopping you from hitting the goals that you're looking to reach in your business.
What are KPIs and how do they dictate the growth of your business? Okay. I don't know anyone who's doing, 50K, 80K, 100K per month in business or more that does not have a really strong post on their key performance indicators. That's what KPIs are. Pretty much, what are the ideal metrics that someone should have tracked, right? And the ideal metrics are this: you have marketing data, right? You have setter data, and you can call this setter data or you can call this receptionist data, whichever one is more in alignment with what you're doing. Okay. You got marketing data, you got setter data, and then you have closer data. Maybe you don't call your closers, you call them consultation, right? Specialists, but you got your closer data, your setter data, and then you have your operations data, C-suite level data, executive data, management data, things like that. So I'm going to go over some things that you 100% should be tracking if you want to break through 10 to 20K per month, 30K per month. If you want to get out of that choke of being at that revenue and finally scale and become profitable at 50K, 100K, you have to understand this stuff. So marketing data is as simple as this: ad spend, leads generated, cost per lead. How much money am I spending on my ads? How many leads did I generate? And what's my cost per lead? So cost per lead is just the marketing data. And this determines the health of your marketing. If your cost per lead, right, what's the benchmark? We'll talk benchmark here. Less than or equal to $16, you have a healthy marketing campaign. And I promise you, your biggest bottleneck probably is not marketing, right? Like once you figured out how to consistently for the next 10 to 20 years get $16 cost per lead or below, you're good. Your marketing is fine. You need to focus on other things. Of course, there's the things like refining the type of leads coming in that regard. That's another topic. But if you're getting the leads, then your marketing data is good. Okay. Now, setter data is the next important thing. Simply put, how many dials is your receptionist making? How many calls are they connecting with so that you can get your percentage here when your calls connected rate? How many appointments do they book from the people that they talk to so that you can figure out that percentage? And then, well, that would be your appointment booking rate. How many people are showing up? And then that's going to attribute to your show rate. Okay. So when you're thinking about calls like dials being made, right? Like I really like the 10 to 20 dials per free hour, meaning they're not talking to anyone, right? Like if you're not on the phone with someone, it's a free hour. So you should be dialing, right? And if you can't do 10 to 20 dials, then it probably means that we need to move a little faster or optimize the process for making dials, right? If you could connect with 8 to 12% of the people that you talk to, then you're good, right? Your connection rate, you don't have an issue in that regard. You'll be fine, right? So now you know, hey, I don't have a marketing problem. I don't have an output problem. This is the amount of dials that I'm making per hour, right? Like you're ideally making somewhere from 40 to 80 dials per day, right? I'm connecting with people, right? I'm good in that regard. And then the booking rate, right? When I connect with people, the floor is about 15%, right? Call, like connected call to book rate, right? So if I talk to 10 people, I should at least be booking 1 to 2 people, at least, right? And if not, there's a sales issue. Your call to book rate identifies a sales issue. Maybe there's something being said that's not resonating with people and you're just not booking the people that you connect with. But if you're getting the leads, you're making the output, you're connecting with the people and you're not booking, that's a sales issue. Now assume you are booking the people and your booking rate's in the green. Maybe all of the leads that you've generated, you're booking 20 to 30% of the leads. Okay. I'm booking at 46%. What's my next bottleneck? Right? What's my next bottleneck? Is it the show rate, right? Appointment shown will give you the show rate. Ideally, you want somewhere in that 70% to 80% of the leads that you book showing up. If not, it means you either have a sales problem, for the people you are booking, you're having bad conversations and they're super low intent, or you're not taking deposits, right? And if you are taking deposits and you're still getting people to no show, right? You're taking deposits, but you don't have a no show fee, or your nurturing is bad, right? Because if you're taking a $20 deposit, you're booking the appointment, and they're still not showing up, then it means that you need a higher no show fee to instill a bit more fear, or you need to nurture them better. Now, okay, we got marketing data. Now we understand our setter data. And now we move on to closer data, which in the industry, a lot of people consider consultation specialists, right? Now, a lot of the times, what I see, right, from some of the smaller clinics is they're trying to solve closer data, but their real bottleneck is actually their setter data, right? Like maybe their consultation specialist is booking at 50%, which is not good. Don't get me wrong. Like they should be closing more consults. But the real issue is actually they're just not getting enough appointments, right? And the real issue there is that they have a sales issue because everyone they talk to, they're falling below a 15% call connected to book rate because there's just something going on in the conversations that need to be changed. But like, it's like, don't move on to auditing and trying to improve closer data if the first two are bad, right? Like if you have a marketing campaign that has $50 lead costs, I'm not going to blame my receptionist for not getting the appointments, right? Like if I'm not getting the leads, she can't get the appointments, right? So it's an order of importance. Now, closer data, simply put, right? How many people showed up, and out of those people who showed up, how many did you close? Ideally, the close rate that you want to be gunning for is about 70% and above, right? So if you're doing something below this, there's something to improve on, right? Maybe your reception, maybe your nurse doesn't know how to handle objections, right? She gets the prices too expensive. She's like, okay, let's do a follow up. She never closes. I need to talk to my husband, things like that, right? Or maybe the sales framework is more of a freestyle, right? Like you guys are looking at the business as a whole, right? You have 3 nurses on the floor doing consults, but when you look at the average of the team, the average is 50%, right? Because maybe one of the nurses is freestyling her consults. So there's no repeatable framework to getting the close, right? So, maybe you need to refine the sales process so that everyone's using the exact same consultation framework and script, right? It's more of a framework when you're in the consult than the script. But if everybody's using the same framework, we should be able to get the same output. So closer data, 70%, 7 out of 10 people is what that means, right? 7 out of 10 people close. Of course, some people are going to be a hard no. That's okay. As long as I look at my spreadsheet at the end of the month and I see 70%, I don't even care about those people. That's the idea, right? And then average sale value, you want it to be somewhere between 500 and 600 average sale value. If you're closing on an average cash collected below 500, it probably means that you're selling single treatments, you don't know how to upsell, or you just have not crafted a bigger treatment package that will allow you to boost that average sale value. And then the last thing is going to be C-suite level data, right? Which is like operations data. What's my cost per acquisition, right? What is my cost per acquisition? What's my average lifetime value, right? So cost per acquisition is how much does it cost, right, for me to acquire a client, right? If I look at my cost per acquisition and it costs me $400 to acquire a client, I very well may spend $400 per day if I want a new client every day, right? Assuming that client's worth, 7x or whatever it is of the cost per acquisition, right? Your cost per acquisition should be higher than your gross lifetime value, right? Like, assuming your lifetime value of a client is worth $2,000, you should be willing to spend $400 to acquire them, right? Average lifetime value, right? What is a patient worth to me, right? That's why I say this is more like C-suite level data, but it's very, very important. What is a patient worth to me, right? You need to know this, right? Over 2 years, what does a patient typically pay me? It will allow you to make stronger decisions in the business because some people are fixated on whether their lead cost is $5 or $20. But in the grand scheme, if my average lifetime value of a customer is 3 grand, then it doesn't really matter. Right? Sure, you can always improve, but as long as my LTV is there, I'm willing to spend $20 for a lead. I'm willing to spend, $200 for a cost per acquisition because I know as soon as someone's in the door, they're going to pay me 300 on visit one, 500 on visit two. Maybe they come back in 9 months to pay me another 1,000, and there I am. I'm chasing that 2 grand lifetime value in the next 24 months. That's worth a lot when you start talking about recurring revenue. You need to understand lifetime value. And if you have a low average lifetime value, right? That's another bottleneck, right? Like maybe you figured it out. Maybe you figured out how to get leads, how to book appointments consistently, how to close at 70% at an average sale value of 600 or more. But what you haven't figured out is what my lifetime value is, right? And I'm closing everybody for this average cash collected, but they're not coming back, right? So I have a retention problem, right? I have a retention problem. And you cannot scale a business with always getting new clients. You cannot do that. You have to be able to bring people back in the clinic, refer friends. That's a whole nother level. That's C-suite level and operations things that need to be dialed in. And then the other one, which I usually don't talk about unless you're kind of at like 50K or above, like on coaching calls, I typically won't talk about this. But once you get to 50K, 100K per month, team culture metrics matter, right? What is What is the health of my team, right? Are my employees happy, right? Are they healthy? Do they have benefits, right? Financial health metrics being the easy to understand things, right? I'm talking revenue generated, right? Profit generated, right? Um, I'm talking profit margins, right? Obviously, that's a simple division there. You need to know your profit margins. And there's two profit margins to understand. There's a net profit margin, okay? And then there is a gross profit margins, right? Um, a lot of businesses that come to us that are doing 100K to 200K per month in their med spa, what we usually find out is that they actually have no profit. They have this huge business. The med spa owner is taking home, the business taking home 100, 200K per month, but the CEO actually can't pay herself because the business doesn't actually make any money. And something that I learned a long time ago, like in my early 20s of business, is that top line revenue builds ego, right? But bottom line revenue, which is profit, builds lifestyle. If you understand these things, right? Marketing data, setter data, closer data, operations data, and you put it into a tracker to track where you are and where you want to be, it's impossible. It's impossible not to scale, right? As long as you understand the data, you're a solution aware of what solution is going to allow you to improve upon the lagging KPIs, and you're constantly tracking it, is no way you can't scale, right? Because the only way you wouldn't scale is if I say, hey, why are you stuck at 20K a month? If you say I don't know, then that's the reason that you're not scaling. It's because you actually don't know the data. But if you know the data and I say, hey, why are you stuck at 20K a month? Then you're going to be like, oh, well, my booking rate's low, right? Okay, cool. We need to go all in on booking rate. Or, hey, I'm stuck because my connection rate's low. Like no one's answering. Okay, we need to go all in on connection rate. Like, what is everything that we can do to improve the connection rate? Like, let's do that. Let's track that over the next 7 to 14 days and let's come back and see, did it work? No, if it didn't work, let's try something else, right? Until we get the connection rate there. And then we're going to move on to the next thing. Because once you fix lead cost, connection rate, and all the basic things, what you're going to realize is that profit margins and the other stuff starts to be the more important metrics that need to be improved.